Setting up your gradebook is important for tracking and displaying student grades during the course. This video will help you locate the gradebook settings in the Ultra Course view and covers setting up the overall grade calculation. To set up your overall grade, you will need to locate the gradebook link in the top navigation. Click on the gradebook link and open the gradebook. Next, you'll need to locate the gear icon on the right side. Click on the gear icon to open the gradebook settings. Since you want to set up the overall grade, scroll down until you see Manage Overall Grade Settings and click on the link to open the overall grade settings page. On the right side, you will see a few options. The first is Base Calculation on Points Earned out of Total Graded Points. If this is selected, the calculation will be a running total grade based on the points earned divided by the points graded. You can also select how the overall grade will be displayed. Options are letter, percentage, and points. You can also decide if the overall grade will be shown to students or hidden from students. There are three options for calculating the overall grade: points, weighted, and advanced. In this course, we're going to look at examples of points-based grading and weighted grading. Let's look at an example of setting up a points-based overall grade. The first thing you'll need to do is make sure that you select the calculation type. In this case, it's already on points, so we don't need to change it. The next thing you'll want to do is you'll want to look at your grade categories and the items associated with those grade categories. For example, let's look at the assignment grade category. We'll open this up to see the 5 items listed below. If we're happy with these assignments being in the assignment category, then we can move on. Let's take a look at the test category. There are 3 items in the test category. If we look here, we have Exam 2, Exam 1, and Quiz 3. Well, I would actually prefer Quiz 3 to be in the quiz category. So if you see something like this, you'll need to change the category. Let me show you how to do that. The best way is to close out of the gradebook settings and then find Quiz 3 in the list of assessments. We'll go to the 3 dots at the far right and edit, and you'll see here that the category is set to test, and we're going to click on that, scroll down a little bit, and find test under grade category, and we're going to switch that to quiz. Now Quiz 3 will be in the grade category of quiz. We'll make sure to save it, and you'll see here that it's changed now to quiz. When we go back to the overall grade, we'll come back here and we'll click on edit, and we should see now that Quiz 3 is listed under the quiz category, and there it is. And it's no longer listed under the test category. But let's look at a couple more advanced options that may be helpful in calculating your overall grade. One thing you may want to do is you may want to exempt or exclude certain items from a grade category. Let's look at our assignment category for a moment. We'll see here that we have 2 annotated bibliographies. The first one is intended to be a rough draft, so we do want to give students feedback and a score on that, but we don't want to include it in the overall grade. So what we do is we click on the exclude button here, and we can remove those 6 points from the overall grade. So now that I've added it back in, you'll see that it's 312 points, and when I click it, it drops down to 306. So this is a way that you can have a graded assessment but exclude it from the overall grade. And this can be helpful sometimes in this case. Now let's take a look at doing a weighted calculation. So the first thing you'll need to do is make sure that you select the correct calculation type. In this case, we're doing weighted, so we need to switch over here to weighted. Now you'll see that the items have changed from points to percentages. We still have the same grade categories and the same items listed under each of those categories. Now, when you're doing weighted grading, it's even more important to make sure that your categories are correct. So you'll want to check each one and make sure that the items that are listed are the correct items. For example, we have one exam here. Let's make sure that that is correct. This is our final exam. Okay, so we have that listed under exam. We have a couple of exams listed under test, and then we also have 3 quizzes listed under quizzes, and our 5 assignments are listed under assignments. So the next thing we're going to need to do is we're going to need to make sure that all of these percentages add up to 100%. Now, if you know what these are, it's fairly straightforward. So let's just do an example. Let's say our homework is worth 20% of the overall grade. Our quizzes are also worth 20% of the overall grade, and our tests are worth 30% of the overall grade, and our final exam is worth 20% of the overall grade. Now you'll look down and you'll see that we have 100%. Now one of the things that is a problem is that it's these these categories that aren't being used are taking up the slack here. So what we need to do is come in and make sure these are all set to 0%. And oh, we see that we're at 90%. That's because we forgot we do need to add 10% for attendance. So you have to unlock this, type in 10%, and then lock it. Okay, so now we're back to 100%, and that's how you would set up a weighted total. So that was a basic overview of how to set up the overall grade in the Ultra Course View.